Thank you. Please be seated. Your Honours, Premier, Mr. Pallister, members of the Legislative Assembly, members of the Order of Manitoba Advisory Council, very special guests, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, welcome. My name is Dwight McCauley. I'm the Chief of Protocol for the Province of Manitoba, and I'm also the Secretary to the Order of Manitoba Advisory Council, and I'm also delighted to be your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. So welcome to the Manitoba Legislative Building, and welcome to this beautiful room. This room, by the way, is called the Manitoba Room, and it's only used for very special events like the one that we're having here this afternoon. As you already know, the Order of Manitoba is in fact the highest honour the province can bestow on anyone, so congratulations to those of you who are about to be invested into the Order of Manitoba. As we begin the ceremony today, I also want to extend a very warm welcome to their honours, especially to the Lieutenant Governor and the Chancellor of the Order of Manitoba. She assumed her office just under 3 weeks ago today, and today marks Her Honour's first investiture ceremony as Chancellor of the Order of Manitoba. And on that note, it is my pleasure to invite Her Honour, the Honourable Janice Filmon, to come forward and bring words of welcome. Your Honour.
Thank you, Dwight. Wow, you look wonderful. Premier, Chief Justice, members of the Legislative Assembly, recipients, friends, creators, builders, heroes. Words cannot express what a thrill this is to preside over my very first Order of Manitoba investiture ceremony. It's amazing to look at the variety of accomplishments of today's inductees. They've achieved so many different kinds of success. But one thing that they all have in common is that they've created something through the power of their imagination and their personal drive. They are creators. Theoretical physicists say that the great mystery they're trying to solve, with those equations so big and complicated that they give you a headache just to look at them, is why is there something rather than nothing? On a cosmic level, we may never have a clear and easily understood answer. But if we ask that question of a province or a country, I think the people in this room can give us the answer. We might ask, why is there music rather than silence? Why is there hope rather than despair? Or why is there healing rather than endless suffering? And the answer is because somebody made the effort. Somebody took a chance. Somebody took on the responsibility to create something. Members of the Order of Manitoba are those somebodies. Each one of today's inductees has made outstanding contributions to the social, cultural, or economic well-being of this province and its people. They have inspired young people, created opportunities for work and learning, nurtured understanding and compassion, brought excitement and beauty to our lives. They've achieved outstanding things in their own careers and given their time and energy to support countless volunteer organizations. They, and people like them, are the answer to that question. Why is there something good, something hopeful, something inspiring, rather than nothing? In the Bible, there's a line, quote, "In the beginning was the Word." Well, the word is yes, as in yes, I'll do it. Every life-improving development in the world, whether social, cultural, economic, or technological, came about because somebody, somewhere, said yes. Members of the Order of Manitoba provide us all with a challenge. It's a challenge to say yes to life, to say yes when we're given the opportunity to work in whatever way we can for a better community, province, nation, or world. Their great accomplishments echo the words of the great Manitoba writer Margaret Lawrence, who wrote, "I believe we have to live, as long as we live, in the hope and expectation of changing the world for the better." Thank you all for creating that hope and expectation. And thank you for saying yes.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce Pastor George Bell. Pastor Bell will deliver the invocation. Sir?
Almighty God, we praise you that from your bounty you give good gifts to men, and that among these are gifted men and women that devote their energy and means to serving others. We give you thanks for the recipients of today's honors who have used their skills to be a voice for some who otherwise would not be heard, to bring hope to the disadvantaged, abused, and forgotten, to bring joy and hope to discouraged hearts, to coach and mentor youth with potential to welcome newcomers to our land, and to provide examples of integrity and decency. May their examples be an inspiration to a new generation of trailblazers, committed to the same principles and willing to say yes from their hearts. We also remember the many people of our province who serve their fellows without receiving or expecting praise. May they understand that you notice their efforts. We pray in your awesome and loving name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Bell. Well, it has been customary in past ceremonies at this time we take a moment to recognize members of the Order of Manitoba who have passed away during the past year. This year there are two, Helen Preston Glass and Dr. David Gruer. Helen Preston Glass received the Order of Manitoba in 2008 for her globally recognized contributions to the nursing profession. In her later years, she was Professor Emeritus at the University of Manitoba's Faculty of Nursing, located in the building that today actually bears her name. Dr. Gruer was a specialist in pediatrics and Aboriginal and newborn medicine who made an exceptional contribution to northern healthcare, particularly among Indigenous children living in northern Manitoba and in Nunavut. Dr. Gruer received the Order of Manitoba in the year 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, could we just have a moment of silence, please, to remember those two outstanding Manitobans? Thank you. So this now brings us to the investiture. I'll call each recipient individually, I'll read a citation, and present the recipient to the Chancellor of the Order of Manitoba. The Chancellor will then invest each recipient with the insignia of the Order, that's the medal, and the letters patent, that's the framed document, and the Chancellor will invite each recipient to sign the official register. Rachel Alejo. Rachel Alejo is the founding executive director and program director of Winnipeg's Helping Hands Resource Centre for Immigrants. Since immigrating to Manitoba from Nigeria as a young mother in 1973, she has helped countless newcomers to Canada as they maximize their potential in a new country and a new home. Throughout all of this, she has worked to build a strong sense of community and belonging for the women, youth, and families that she serves. Rachel Alejo is also active in many related organizations and has sat on numerous boards. She is past president of the Immigrant Women's Organization and the founding associate minister of the Christ Apostolic Church Vineyard of Comfort in Winnipeg. She is presently writing her second book. The book is entitled The Insight of Reaching Out. She is doing this to inspire others to do outreach within their communities. Your Honor, Ms. Rachel Alejo. Chad Allen. In the 1960s, Winnipeg's Alan Coble took the stage name Chad Allen and went on to become a Canadian rock music icon. Chad Allen played pivotal roles in the creation of two legendary Winnipeg rock bands, the Guess Who and Bachman Turner Overdrive. However, perhaps his contributions are best articulated by excerpts of two letters of congratulations that we have actually received from Mr. Allen. The first one reads, "Congratulations on this long overdue recognition. Your contribution to Winnipeg and Canadian rock and roll history is huge. You have been a huge inspiration to me since the early days of Allen and the Silvertones. I stood on the floor looking up at you, Randy and Jimmy, as you led the Silvertones through many great Winnipeg appearances, forever influencing me." That message was from Mr. Neil Young. One other message that we received goes like this. Chad Allen was an integral force in the 1960s Winnipeg music scene. He gave me my first big break by inviting me to join his band. He always inspired me to learn the best music and pushed me to write my own songs. I'm proud to have played with this kid from East Kildonan, who became the voice behind Shakin' All Over, the man behind the Guess Who, the band that rocked the world and put Winnipeg on the world map of rock and roll. That was from Mr. Randy Bachman. Your Honor, Mr. Chad Allen. Karen Bowden. Karen Bowden is a Métis woman who strives in all she does to make Winnipeg a better place for the most vulnerable people in our society. A City of Winnipeg Community Resource Coordinator, she is the founding spokesperson of the City of Winnipeg's Aboriginal Employees Group, which works to provide Indigenous employees with program supports and information concerning educational opportunities. Karen Bowden has also given her time to many community boards, such as the Métis Child, Family and Community Services Board. She is currently active in two boards in Winnipeg's North End, including the Ikwe Wejituwin Board, an Indigenous Women and Children's Crisis Shelter, where she is the Vice Chair. A dynamic member of the Métis community and proud supporter of the Métis movement, Karen Bowden remains committed to increasing understanding, support and respect for Indigenous people. Your Honour, Ms. Karen Bowden. Tom Cochrane. Originally from Lynn Lake, Tom Cochrane is a multi-Juno award-winning musician, celebrated for his eloquent songwriting, musicianship, and humanitarian efforts. He made his recording debut in 1973 with the release of his first single, You're Driving Me Crazy. From 1978 to 1990, he was frontman of the Canadian rock band Red Rider, later known as Tom Cochrane and Red Rider. Their 1980 debut album, Don't Fight It, received North American acclaim, and he went on to record 7 successful albums with the band. Tom Cochrane launched his solo career in 1991 with the album Mad, Mad World, featuring the international hit single Life is a Highway. The album sold 1 million copies in Canada alone and went on to win 4 Juno Awards. He has produced another 8 albums as a solo artist and 4 compilation albums. His latest album, Take It Home, was released in February of this year. Throughout his career, he has supported a wide range of worthy causes, such as the Make Poverty History campaign. He is a longtime spokesperson for World Vision and has been a major supporter of the ALS Society of Canada. His many honours include induction into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and the Alan Waters Humanitarian Award, as well as a star in the Canadian Walk of Fame. Tom Cochrane is also an officer in the Order of Canada. Your Honour, Mr. Tom Cochrane. Deanne Cohen. An esteemed economist, author, and award-winning broadcaster, Deanne Cohen has assisted both ordinary Canadians and CEOs with her economic acumen while helping to shape community strategies and government policies. Deanne Cohen enjoyed a long career as an economics commentator on television and radio, including her work as CTV's national business editor and as a syndicated newspaper and magazine columnist. Deanne Cohen was a founding director of the Public Policy Forum and a member of the Economic Council of Canada. She has served as a trustee for the Canadian Merit Scholarship Foundation and as regent for the Canadian Institute of Chartered Accountants. Her volunteer work includes her significant commitment to the YMCA and the YWCA. Among her many honours for excellence in economic communications, Deanne Cohen was made a member of the Order of Canada. Your Honour is Deanne Cohen. Wilma Dirksen. Wilma Dirksen is an artist, author, and internationally respected expert on unique needs of victims of serious crime. Since the abduction and murder of her daughter Candace in 1984, she has been resolute in her support of crime victims and their rights, while facilitating a non-adversarial dialogue within the criminal justice community and the community at large. Many have sought her counsel, including the Government of Canada and the Law Commission of Canada. She has also shared her story and her insights with audiences throughout North America and abroad. Wilma Dirksen has founded or co-founded several important programs in Manitoba, including Child Find Manitoba, which is now known as the Canadian Centre for Child Protection. Known for her grace and for her courage in the face of tragedy, Wilma Dirksen is presently dedicated to opening Candace House, a home-like resource centre for victims of crime in Manitoba. Your Honour, Mrs. Wilma Dirksen. Daniel Johnson. A champion of special needs athletes, Dan Johnson was the founding executive director of the Manitoba Special Olympics in 1980. Determined to raise the profile of young special needs athletes, he left his teaching position in 1978 to focus on launching Special Olympics in Manitoba. He built the organization by developing a club system, establishing the first club in 1979 and launching Manitoba Special Olympics a year later. Within 5 years, that one club had grown into 125 clubs that serviced over 1,500 athletes. Indeed, during his tenure, Dan Johnson inspired thousands of athletes and volunteers and helped Manitoba Special Olympics become a role model for the entire nation. When he retired in 1995, Dan Johnson left an indelible mark on every facet of the Special Olympics organization. He has since been inducted into both the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame and the Manitoba Special Olympics Hall of Fame. Your Honour, Mr. Dan Johnson. Sheldon Kennedy. Sheldon Kennedy is well known for his career in the National Hockey League from 1988 to 1998. He is also perhaps best known for turning the tragedy of a history of sexual abuse into awareness, hope, and help for other victims throughout North America and indeed around the world. Born in Brandon, Sheldon Kennedy grew up playing hockey in Thompson and Elkhorn. He played professionally for the Detroit Red Wings, the Calgary Flames, the Boston Bruins, and the Manitoba Moose. He was also a member of Canada's gold medal winning team at the 1988 World Junior Hockey Championships in Moscow. He was forever changed as a result of the sexual abuse he suffered at the hands of his junior hockey league coach, the effects of which he bravely shared in his 2006 autobiography, Why Didn't I Say Anything? A compelling advocate for abuse survivors, Sheldon Kennedy is a former ambassador for Manitoba Sports Respect in Sport and the co-founder of Respect Group, Inc., which provides online education for the prevention of abuse and bullying. In recognition of his courageous advocacy, last year Sheldon Kennedy was appointed a member of the Order of Canada. Your Honour, Mr. Sheldon Kennedy. Donald Mackey. Donald Mackey is a much-honored Métis veteran dedicated to ensuring the sacrifices of Indigenous veterans is never forgotten. He's also devoted to honouring the memory of Sergeant Tommy Prince, one of Canada's most decorated Indigenous soldiers and a member of the Order of Military Merit. As chair of the Sergeant Tommy Prince Memorial Fund Committee, Donald Mackey has been responsible for many important initiatives, including securing funding for the Sergeant Tommy Prince Monument located in Veterans Park on Selkirk Avenue here in Winnipeg. A life member of the Army Cadet League of Canada, he was also instrumental in the formation of the number 553 Sergeant Tommy Prince MM Royal Canadian Army Cadet Corps for inner-city youth, and he remains its chief organizer and sponsor. Donald Mackey has received certificates of merit and commendation from veterans associations across Canada, and he is the recipient of the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal and the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. Your Honour, Mr. Donald Mackey. Mitch Podalic. Mitch Podalic is the founding artistic director of the Winnipeg Folk Festival, one of the longest-running and most successful folk festivals in Canada. Revered in the folk music community, he's also helped establish and promote music festivals and artistic venues throughout North America. Mitch Podalic helped found the Winnipeg Folk Festival in 1974, along with his wife, Ava Kabrinsky, and Colin Gorey. He also served as its artistic director for 13 seasons. He was also the founding artistic director of the Vancouver Folk Festival and a major influence in starting other folk festivals across the country. Incredibly, he also served as the founding artistic director of Winnipeg's West End Cultural Centre and Winnipeg's International Children's Festival. At present, Mitch Podalic is the founding artistic director of Home Roots, Chemin Chez Nous, North America's only house concert circuit. In 2013, he received the Unsung Hero Award at the Canadian Folk Music Awards. Your Honour, Mr. Mitch Podalic. Monika Singh. Since arriving in Manitoba from Guyana, South America in 1974, Monika Singh has been a passionate supporter of recent immigrants and a strong voice for immigrant women on a host of provincial, national, and territorial boards. The Manitoba Intercultural Centre has benefited from her wise counsel, as have the Boys and Girls Clubs of Winnipeg, where she sat on the Intergenerational Conference Planning Committee that addressed issues facing immigrant families. Her identification of key issues facing newcomers to Canada has been invaluable in shaping government policies. Monika Singh is a past president of the Immigrant Women's Association of Manitoba and has served with both the National and International Councils of Women. In the year 2000, she co-chaired the Global Issues Committee of the United Nations Platform for Action Committee. Monika Singh continues her commitment to public service as an elected member of the Manitoba Ethnocultural Advocacy and Advisory Council. Your Honour, Ms. Monika Singh. Jonathan Toews. Captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, Jonathan Toews is a three-time Stanley Cup champion and one of Manitoba's most celebrated Olympians. On the Olympic stage, he scored the first goal for Team Canada in each of the final gold medal winning games at the Vancouver and Sochi Winter Olympics in 2010 and 2014. In addition to his 2 Olympic gold medals, his medal roster also includes 2 World Junior Hockey gold medals and 1 World Championship gold medal. Jonathan Toews was awarded the Conn Smythe Most Valuable Player Trophy in 2010 and the Frank Selke Trophy in 2013. In addition to his many awards and accomplishments, when Jonathan Toews was named the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, he became the 3rd youngest captain in the entire history of the NHL. He is not only an excellent ambassador for his sport, he is also an exemplary model for young people. Admired for his quiet determination and humble demeanor, he has made giving back a priority. Off the ice, from the Make-A-Wish Foundation to the Jumpstart program, Jonathan Toews has given his time, his name, his celebrity status to many, many worthwhile charitable initiatives, causes, and events that all serve to help disadvantaged youth. Your Honour, Mr. Jonathan Toews. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have your 2015 recipients of the Order of Manitoba. It's now my pleasure to invite the Premier of Manitoba, the Honourable Greg Selinger, to come forward and say a few words. Premier?
Your Honours, family and friends, and of course our 12 recipients. It's a great honour to have you with us here in Manitoba today. Bienvenue tout le monde, c'est un honneur pour moi d'être ici pour les 12 Manitobains et Manitobaines qui seront à l'Ordre du Manitoba aujourd'hui. We have among us very distinguished people. Karen Bowden and Donald Mackey, symbols of our Indigenous people in Manitoba and the tremendous contributions you've made to having a better life for all people in Manitoba. Wilma Dirksen and Diane Cohen, advocates for public policy, victims all the way to economics and everything in between. Monika Singh and Rachel Alejo, your advocacy work to teach respect for diversity in Manitoba and human rights has made an enormous difference and increased the dynamism and diversity of our community. Chad Allen, Tom Cochrane, and Mitch Podalic. How can I put that together? Well, one might be shaken all over down that highway of life, all the way to the folk festival, which starts tonight. You guys, But you know, when we think about culture and music, those are the jingles in our head that keep us moving every day. It's a very important part of who we are as human beings. Dan Johnson, Sheldon Kennedy, Jonathan Toews, athletes all, but athletes who have brought others into the sport of life and how we compete and do things together in competition and in cooperation. The respect that we've taught other people, the ability to be inclusive, the ability to do things with humility makes an enormous difference. So I say to all of you today, we can be proud to be Manitobans, we can be proud to be Canadians, and all of you have made a difference and raised the bar on who we are as a community. Thank you. Merci. Very much.
So as we conclude today's event, congratulations to all of those who received the Order of Manitoba, and a special thank you to your family and friends who joined us here this afternoon and made this afternoon's ceremony so special. Now with that, I would like to invite Francesca Silla to come forward and lead us in the singing of O Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise?